Neville Goddard, the creative use of imagination, also known as the power of unlimited imagination. Neville via Margaret Ruth Broom. Chapter 3, Desire, my favorite subject. This is the best. If it wasn't for this, what would push you? Why would you do anything? Why would you get out of bed? It's one word. It's one concept. Chapter 3, Desire. As you are, so shall God appear to be you. The priest will see God as the head of all celestial and terrestrial records. To a judge, he is the great judge, forever meting out punishment. To the Hottentot, God is the kind of chief he, himself, would like to be. So you see, men are forever creating God in their image. Isn't that interesting? Men are constantly, forever creating God in their image. God is God from the creation. Truth alone is man's salvation. But the God that now you worship soon shall be your God no more. For the soul in its unfolding, evermore its thoughts remolding, and it learns more truly in its progress, whom to love and how to adore. Through this teaching, you will learn to outgrow your concept of God. For God changes not, only your ideas of Him change. Fascinating piece. It's a very interesting subject, the word God. When you first come into the Neville material, it's like, whoa, wait a minute. I thought I was learning something else that was more atheistic. Do I have to use the word God? Oh no, Jesus too? Oh, here we go. Scripture? Oh boy, more. Through this teaching, you will outgrow your concept of God, for God changes not, only your ideas of Him change. Desire is your mainspring of action, for you cannot move without desire. Ask yourself, what wantest thou of me? And then formulate your desire. Ask yourself, remember, I am. Go into your closet, shut the door, in private, I am, breathing, relaxing. You're at home, there's nothing, just you and I am. Ask yourself, what wantest thou of me? What wantest thou of me? And what do you hear? What's the first thing that comes floating to the surface? Feel its presence, and you have granted yourself the desire's fulfillment. Human life is nothing more than the appeasement of hunger, and the infinite series of levels of awareness is the means to satisfy that hunger. Health is a desire, a hunger that can be appeased when the idea is formulated in the mind that I am healthy. Health is a desire, a hunger that can be appeased when the idea is formulated in the mind that I am healthy. The same is true of wealth, peace, harmony, or fame, for all of these are states of awareness. Identify yourself with the state desired. Persist in this identification, and because you and God are the one consciousness, what you are conscious of, you outpicture. Remember the old saying, fake it till you make it, right? So here you are. I am all that is God. That's all of us. All creation in one shot. Everything. Every single human, every single creature, every single manifestation. Here's a self-concept, another self-concept. Here's one that you might be now. Here's another one. There's several more. There's some this way, some that way, upside down, right side up. People in Australia are obviously upside down. Okay, over here is your current self-concept. And this is the one you want to be. Identify yourself with the state desired. Persist in this identification, and because you and God are one consciousness, what you are conscious of, you outpicture. Identify yourself. This is yourself right here. This is who you currently are as a self-concept. But you want to be this self-concept. Here you're single, not married, not in love, not in a relationship, but you want to be in one. So you must identify yourself with the one you want to be. How do you do that? Do you fall asleep with the mental ring on your mental finger? Do you go to sleep feeling your mental ring with your mental hand and fall asleep knowing your partner's in bed next to you? Knowing how that feels? Feeling secure? They're there? Neville said about his wife, he was talking about somebody and he says, what kind of house do you have? He says when his wife, her name was Wilhelmina, he called her Bill. I might have that backwards. That might be his first wife's name. I forget, but he called his wife by the name of Bill. I think I'm correct, but either way, correct me in the comments if it's backwards. But he said his house, if he got home and she wasn't there, the house was empty. And if she was there and he was coming home to a cocktail party and he wasn't there, even though the house was full of people, to her it was still empty because he wasn't there. And I'm here to tell you, that's exactly how it is in my relationship, in my marriage, in my 25 years. If she's not home, my house is empty. I'm in there. She could be off at a work function or whatever, but the house is empty to me. It's the same in reverse. We have a wonderful dog. I'll show you him later, named Ziggy. But the idea is it's an empty world. And what I'm trying to convey here is it seems empty to me, who from my current position, I'm this self-concept, but the self-concept I was when I was single, and I worked on this quite a lot of intense energy. I'll make video about that. And that's why I'm trying to come at this from this relationship perspective, mostly because it means the most to me, even today, as it did when I had a self-concept where I was single. So in this time, what is it to myself when I was single to be full of that, all the things that go with the identification of being together? What was it to me? That's what I'm trying to tell you. What is it? If you want that relationship, you want that marriage, you have to embody, at least fake it till you make it. You have to fake that you are in one. You have to mentally, the word fake is kind of thrown around. It's an odd word for this phrase because that phrase has been used in a lot of weird ways. Fake it till you make it, right, whatever. Here, we're trying to embody what it is we desire. So we're bringing the impression into our feelings. That feeling state is making an impact, an impression on our subjective consciousness, which objectifies the reality. Persist in this identification, and because you and God are one consciousness, you and God are one consciousness. What you are conscious of, you outpicture. The cross is the symbol of suffering. There is no physical cross upon which a man was nailed, but a body of beliefs that a man wears. Except you deny yourself and lift up your cross and follow me, you are unworthy of me. Lift up your cross by raising your awareness, for your I amness is the creator of your world. Lift up your cross by raising your awareness, for your I amness is the creator of your world. As an individual, you move and live in time, but your true being is in eternity. Think of the vertical line of the cross as the line of being upon which there are unnumbered levels of awareness. Now, time cannot make you better or wiser. In fact, time cannot do a thing toward changing your level of being. For change is all on the vertical line, where you move to higher or lower levels of your own being. Okay, let's put the vertical line. Higher or lower levels of your own being. That's the line here. Higher or lower levels. Okay, I often equate this to going to a new subconscious, but a self-concept, but we'll see what he's getting into here. Time cannot make you better or wiser. In fact, time cannot do a thing toward changing your level of being. For change is all on the vertical line, where you move to higher or lower levels of your own being. Let's call these higher, let's call these lower, and let's call this higher movement. Let's call that going from a current self-concept to another self-concept that's higher, that was one of desire and fulfillment. Because change is imminent, we speak of it as infinite imminence, as nearer than near and sooner than now. That's wonderful. Sooner than now. I love it. The man you would like to be is imminent. Imminent. The man you would like to be is imminent. Remember, man is equal for manifestation. He is nearer than near. Nearer than near. The ideal you dream of being is sooner than now and is brought into being by a change in your reactions to life. In the book of Revelations, we are told, I will give to every being according to his work. The only work you are called upon to do is work on yourself. The only work you are called upon to do is work on yourself. You already know this. If you've been through the videos this far, you already know you change your self-concept. That changes your 3D reality. I am wealthy gives you wealth. It doesn't just fall out of the sky. There are things you're going to do. When you work on wealth, your bridge of incidents can involve anything, but it's gonna happen. You work on marriage, the bridge of incidents, it's gonna happen. Health, it's gonna happen. There is no thing impossible to the law of assumption. Nothing is unreachable. Nothing is unattainable. Nothing is impossible. It all is. So it is possible. All its creations are done. The only work you are called upon to do is the work on yourself. Could it be more profound than that? You're not pounding stakes on the railroad all day. Start this work by observing your reactions to life. Remember, your future is not being developed, it already is. Your future, the next self-concept you are to embody, is not being developed. It's not coming into fruition. It already is. Remember, once you have the desire, instantaneously, spontaneously, simultaneously, it is in existence. Once that springs open, once the idea springs into your mind, the 3D reality is already in existence. Your future is not being developed, it already is. The time track is complete, as well as all of the events you can encounter. As you move up or down the level of your being, changes will occur in your life. You are now resting at a certain level. Arise, take up your couch, and walk. By breaking the threads of life that bind you to the state you are now in. Arise, take up your couch, and walk by breaking the threads of life that bind you to the state that you are now in. Break these threads by changing your thoughts, for only as you rise within will you find a corresponding change without. Only as you rise within will you find a corresponding change without. Have you ever wondered what it would be like if you were of two pure eyes to behold iniquity? That's T-O-O. If you were all tenderness, all love, all generosity, aim for those feelings, then watch your relationship to them. All tenderness, all love, all generosity. It is here in the midst of the storms of life that you work this law. If you identify yourself with an unlovely state, you will find yourself sinking into it. But you can lift up your cross by breaking your automatic mechanical reactions to life and sacrificing your present level of being. This message comes not to bring peace, but a sword. It comes to set a man at variance against his brother, father, mother, and all the members of his household. For I bring the sword of truth, that is the word of God. This word is sharper than any two-edged sword, for it is capable of piercing the soul and spirit. I am not suggesting you turn against your earthly relatives, but that you turn against the psychological ideas that govern your behavior and the dominant mood that governs your actions and reactions to life. If at this moment your feelings are not noble, turn against them. for they are your psychological mother. This is done by putting new feelings in their place. You cannot change your thinking until you change your feeling, and all feelings come from ideas. Now, everything we're doing here is to try and get to feel it real. Once we feel it real, we know that objectification and manifestation happened because we felt it. We even know the feeling of the Sabbath now because we felt it real once. We saw the pizza, we saw the parking space, we saw our friend get better, we saw his knee heal. We've seen it work. You cannot change your thinking until you change your feeling. And when we applied our feeling, we saw this work and we saw the miracle. Feelings come from ideas. You have to change what you're thinking. At this moment, your feelings are not noble. Turn against them. Put new feelings in their place. A man's enemies are those of his own household, which is everything he accepts as true. Boy, oh boy, that's a wonderful wordsmithery right there. A man's enemies are those of his own household, which is everything he accepts as true. This sword can pierce even to the severing of soul and spirit. Your Father, your I am, is spirit. And when you worship him, you must do so in spirit and in truth. Be still and say to yourself with feeling, I am he. All that you consent to, all that you believe and accept as true, be it wise or foolish, forms the clothing you wear. But you can be reclothed and ascend to a higher level of being when you take up your cross and follow your imagination. Reclothed, remember I talked about upgrades, and ascend to a higher level of being when you when you take up your cross and follow your imagination. Most of us are aimless. We want more than we presently have. We want the other fellow to change, anybody else to change, but we don't want to do the same thing that will bring the change about, for we don't want to change self. In Revelations, John tells us, I will give to everyone according to his work. The gift is not given according to the work of another, but according to the work you do on yourself, and that work is to uncritically observe your reactions to life as they bind you to a certain level. That work is to uncritically observe your reactions to life. That's all the work we're talking about here. That's not that much work. Uncritically observe your reactions to life as they bind you to a certain level. Disassociate yourself from your unpleasant thoughts and associate yourself with your aim. What is your aim you're trying to impress on your subconscious? Disassociate yourself from your unpleasant thoughts and associate yourself with your aim, thereby rising to its level. For your ideal is on that vertical line that you stand upon. That vertical line, it would be here for me, rising to its level, for your ideal is on that vertical line you stand upon. Boom. Scripture tells us to seek and ye shall find, and when you find him, you will be like him. I tell you, you will never find your fulfilled desire until you are the desire. Ooh, man. That guy I saw walking with his guitar, and he was playing it while he was walking. I would say he was focused on his desire to the point where he could ignore what his senses were showing him, except know that he was walking safely on this grass. But he was focused on playing the chords and licks he was strumming with his walking down the street. If you didn't see that video yet, basically I saw a guy walking with a guitar strapped to himself, playing away. He was doing two things, one of which didn't matter to him. He had to walk anyway. But he could ignore those senses and focus on what his desire was to learn and play and strum and get it down and memorize his craft. The desire was to learn, and he was learning. I tell you, you'll never find your fulfilled desire until you are the desire. In my opinion, that kid was the desire. Those who go searching for love only make manifest their lovelessness. for you never have to search for what you are. Oh, man. Manifestation. I've spoken before. You don't need to go out here. You don't need to go out here and get these supposed apps that tell you who you're compatible with. Until you're going to make that impression that you are loving and married and happily in a relationship, until you make that impression in your subconscious and become the embodiment of what that means, nothing in the world is going to deliver that. Nothing. I don't care how much money you throw at this. This is not going to cut it. Anything you go down this road, it's a temporary excursion. You're always here. You go out here, then you get snapped back. You're in the world for a minute and it snaps back. I and my Father are one. There are no divisions to the self. All these supposed divisions aren't even divisions. Sister, mother, brother, friend, cousin, nephew, niece, all this, they're not divisions. They're all Him. You stray from the flock, you come out here, you get brought back. That's the nature of how this works. You're always going to have a home. No matter what you do out here. So if you go out here trying to get the answer for what you're supposedly compatible with, and that's going to be the ultimate situation I should follow, you have to change the consciousness. As soon as you change this consciousness, instantly bridge of incidents, instantly a date, instantly going to dinner, instantly going to the movie, instantly spending time with each other. Instantly, because you changed the consciousness here. Out here is an outpicturing of what you do in here. There is no other process. It doesn't work any other way. It doesn't work any other way. I got to repeat that sentence. Those who go searching for love only make manifest their lovelessness, for you never have to search for what you are. I am Mary, and you are Mary too, for we are forever conceiving of ourselves. The whole of human life is the appeasement of desire, and desire, conceived as fulfilled, will externalize itself. Desire, conceived as fulfilled, will externalize itself. If you are not hungry enough to transcend your present level of consciousness, you will not conceive of anything greater. Sad sentence. As long as you are in love with the state you are in, you cannot and will not rise from it. If you are happy with the torture you're experiencing, you will not change from it. If you are happy with it, because everything you are doing with the world putting into your subconscious and giving you the same loop over and over, never fulfilling a new desire, you're in a loop. Without the vertical line of states, life would have no meaning. The ancients called this infinite series Jacob's ladder. You do not build this ladder, rather you climb it through self-discovery. You know, the exercise, I will not climb a ladder. Now you can understand what's going on with that ladder. The ancients called this infinite series Jacob's ladder. You do not build the ladder, rather you climb it through self-discovery. When you think of another, you are seeing only your opinion of him. If you think he is kind, he is kind. If you think he is stupid, and he is playing the part you have assigned him because of your opinion of him. Therefore, if your desire is for him to change, you must change your opinion of yourself, for he is only your opinion pushed out. Where you are psychologically is what you are. Therefore, only associate with the feeling that leads you to the fulfillment of your dreams. Very important point here. When you think of another, you are seeing only your opinion of him. Now, if you have anybody itching you and is giving you the business, and you and your self is perturbed by that person, on a deep spiritual understanding, you know it's you pushed out. But on the emotional reactive level, you're paying attention to your reactions. You think of this person or someone mentions this person and you get all bugged out. Your normal negative reaction, you have to stop. In the name of love. Couldn't be truer, right? You have to stop And you have to replace anything you were about to think or say in your mind and replace it immediately. Oh, so-and-so's doing so much grander for themselves in life. I hardly ever see them or hear from them because they're doing all these successful things and they're so busy. I'm so happy for them. You have to stop and just replace that track that you had playing before. Again, what this means is you are forgiving your trespasser, which is you anyway. So you're forgiving. You're spreading the love here. Because he or she is playing the part that you assigned to them because of your opinion. If your desire is for them to change, you must change the opinion of yourself. For they are only you pushed out. Wow, what a chapter. Desire, one of the most important subjects, I think, in all of this. Because if you don't understand or have a viewpoint of what your desire is, then you haven't gone in, shut the door into your closet and prayed in secret, meaning go inside and say, what is it that I like? What do I want to be, have, or do? What do I want to do with my life? Desire is the ultimate beginning of all of this. And you must know it's never going to stop. That desire fountain, He, I am, all that is, God, is never going to stop pouring desire through you or anybody else. Desire is always going to be coming. It's a never-ending source of creativity. It's not going to stop. If you know your desire, then you're at least that far on a mission. Now you know if you have a desire, any desire, then you now know what you need to impress onto your subconscious. Make that marriage happen. Marry, as he mentions here, and then the objectification of the son, which is the birth. From one individual will become a son, which will be the birth of your idea, your desire becoming reality, becoming objectified, becoming manifestation. Okay, postscript. May all of your dreams be noble ones. Pay attention to your thoughts and discipline them so that they flow from the feeling of your wish fulfilled. For you are not awake until the outer you becomes placid and the inner you dynamic. Never envy the good fortune of another. Simply appropriate your own. Quite frankly, I am, if someone's giving me news if I'm hearing news of someone purchasing a new home or having a new career or a new inheritance or whatever that has happened or new vehicles, I'm always extremely happy. I'm like, wow, congratulations, that's awesome. Or someone tells me about somebody else, they just, whatever. I know of a couple, friends, associates, they just both retired, the husband and wife, and they just moved to where their offspring live in Tennessee, and I'm like, that's great, that's awesome, man. They both of them put in all their career of effort, and then they get to go follow their dreams, follow their children to where they live now, and I think that's wonderful. Someone else might hear that news and be offset, and it might be off-putting to them because they have a jealousy. Makes no sense. Simply appropriate your own. They used the law the law of assumption. Those two use the law of assumption and are fulfilling their own dreams. Why aren't you? If you ever find yourself jealous or put off by someone else's success, it's because you haven't gotten off of your ass. You're sitting on your backside means that you are not applying the law of assumption and making it happen. But you are making it happen, but unconsciously. You haven't gotten off your ass, meaning awareness of this. Awareness of being, awareness of desire, awareness of putting that impression into your subconscious. Awareness of the objectification of this whole thing happening. You haven't gotten off of your backside and pulled up your bootstraps and made it happen. And it is not work. We're not talking about work here. As he said in this chapter, there is no work involved. It's a psychological adjustment. Never envy the good fortune of another. Simply appropriate your own. That's big. Give yourself your daily bread by giving yourself the opportunity to remember who you are. I and my Father are one. My Father is greater than I. Give yourself your daily bread by giving yourself the opportunity to remember who you are. Remembering who you are is the goal of all this, in my humble opinion. The goal of this is for us to remember He made us in His image and forgot who He was in our image, so that in our image we would remember that we are Him. That's the process. Give yourself your daily bread by giving yourself the opportunity to remember who you are. Wow, what a wonderful chapter. What did you get out of that? There's definitely some wonderful leaning within Margaret's fusing together of Neville's notes from the gal. It's wonderful chapter. Chapter 3, desire. I can't say enough about that subject. I've spent many a time, and I don't care about the definition of time. I don't even want to give it voice, but I've spent my own amount of time trying to figure out what it is I want to do. And in my search, I've done all the analysis. I've spent a lot of supposed time, years, whatever, decades, and I've studied all of what I could, possibly humanly, and come to the conclusion that just listening, as simply as Neville's putting it, just simply listening to inside here is the easiest way. Because, I go to college, didn't know what I want to major in. Do I want to major in that? Taking these classes, taking those classes. Didn't care about that class, blah, blah, blah. Out there is never going to solve the equation. It's never going to be where your answers come from. You know they come from here, so you might as well get on with the business at hand. Go into your I am, ask yourself, what is it that I like? Desire. Wow. Okay, end of chapter. We'll see you in the next one.